Pressures, how are we? So first off, there's one group of pressures that's perfectly put together, and there's two other teams groups of first years from when we were doing our taster subjects, lads. So this video is going into all three of those groups. Just if any of the girls for some reason aren't in one of the groups and they need the video, it'll be a public video on YouTube, lads. So you can just tell them to text me on Teams. And I can send them on the link, or you can send them on the link yourselves. Okay, so my class of 28, you're all together in the teams, and there's two other teams of 20 plus students, so everybody should be in one of them. But just for my second class, I don't have a teams group set up yet. So again, starting off, always mark the page right. You can see straight away my t-square is parallel with that line. I made sure it was before I taped it down. So we're going to do this sheet number 12 from the very start again. So we have to draw a pentagon, and we were chatting about the last day. Whenever we're drawing a shape that has more than four sides, if it's like a pentagon, a hexagon, or whatever it is, as long as it's a regular, so not an irregular, like as long as it's not a pentagon that looks like this, or a hexagon that looks like that. That's six sides there, is it? No, that's five sides. Like, that's not a regular pentagon. Do you know what I mean? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, but it's not regular. So as long as it's regular, like we can see the one in here is regular, just means that all the angles are the same, okay? And that it's a normal shape, not that it's some funky shape, okay? So 360 divided by 5, which gives us 72. Again, I'll go through it quite quickly here, so make sure you stop the video and go back over it if you need to, okay? Do not go on if you don't get something. I will not be accepting, no sir, I watched the video but I didn't get it, because, you know, I go through everything quite concisely, so you should. So again, the diameter of the circle, it tells us in the question, is 120. We figured out in class that means the radius is 60. We set our compass to 60, pop it on the center point, swing it around like that, which is lovely. If I look at my drawing here, I can see there's a straight line going all the way up to the top of the star. So I'm going to start with that line. Again, you can hear there I have my set square placed firmly on my t-square. That line should be nice and light because it's only a construction line, okay? So there's that line there. We're going to take our compass then. We know the angle is 72, and we're going to measure the angle is 72. So think, right? There's a 72 over here, and there's a 72 over here. 0 is here. We're starting from here. We're going all the way up, so obviously it makes sense to stop at the 72 here. It wouldn't make sense to come all the way around here because we know it's an acute angle, not an obtuse one, okay? So there's that line. I'll do the same over the far side. So position my compass like this. Make sure you can see my compass is nice and parallel with the line there. I'll try and block the sheen a little bit. You can see how parallel it is with the line. It's nearly perfect. 0 all the way up until we hit 70. Mark off where we hit 72. And bring it off. We do the same thing for both of these lines. Compass like that until we hit 72. There we go. And the same for this line. Look, compass nice and parallel with that line over there. You can see it. That it's parallel. Again, I'll shade the light a little bit. Look, you can see there perfectly. It's parallel with the line. My crosshairs is parallel with that line. So the line going out here and coming in, we're parallel with that line. What you're seeing the center point below. You can't actually see my lines. My lines on my compass, or you can kind of see them better there in the light. They're parallel with that line, okay? Measure all the way up from 0 to 72. Mark a point. And then connect it through. And for the rest of it then, lads, it's just about following the drawing. So if you struggle on that, you can copy me up here. But it's very simple as we connect the top all the way down like this to either side. Nice and easy. We connect the two sides over to the corners like this. Just like that. And then last but not least, we have the line going from side to side. Lovely. Just like that, nice and easy. So the next question, this one, it's kind of the North Macedonian flag, roughly. So it says, the graphic shown above shows the partial flag based on sun rays. Measure the angles between the rays and repeat the pattern in order to complete the drawing. So what I'm going to do there again is I'm going to take out my protractor. I'm going to place it along one of the lines here. So I'll start with the bottom line. And I'll follow. Do you know what? It'll be easier if I start with one of these lines, because they're actually fully on the page. So look, my protractor nice and parallel with that line there. Actually, sorry, I should go for the one down, because otherwise I wouldn't have an angle to measure. So the second one down, which is this one here, I measure that there, and that is giving me about 5 degrees. So there's 5 degrees in between each of those angles. So now I'm going to come along to the next one. Okay, and I'm not going to do all of them now because it'll take up too much time, but I'll come along to the first one. So I'm at 180 here, and I'll measure into 175. Draw a line. Same then from the point that the line that I just marked. We got 5 degrees is the line. Measure out 5 degrees. So we got that as the angle. Measure out 5 degrees, line straight through. And as you can see, my lines are almost identical to those lines. So now again, literally the same thing, we're just doing the same thing over and over again. Set my compass parallel to the edge line, 5 degrees, bring line out. Compass to the edge line, make sure the edge line's up at 180 out there, 5 degrees, and there we go. Okay, so all you're doing is that exact process the whole way around the rest of the page, okay? There's no need for me to do the rest of the page because it's the exact same thing. So again, starting off, I picked the second line, which is this one here, because I had to measure the angle, okay? I measured the angle there. It led me out to 180 degrees, and that gave me a gap of 5, roughly. Maybe it's slightly bigger, but 5 is close enough anyway. So that's what I went with there, okay? Now, where we have to be careful, and maybe where Mr. Carey made a little bit of a mistake, is the angle in the center here is a bit different. So I made a little bit of a mistake there. That's about 15. See, between here and here, that's about 15. So instead of doing what I did, measure out 5, and I should have measured out 15 for the first one, if that makes sense. So apologies now, that's a bit of a blunder by Mr. Carey, which is nothing out of the ordinary. So I'll go parallel with the edge line, we'll go out 15, and we'll draw that up. Lovely, and from that then, we'll go 5 degrees from that line, okay? 5 degrees, 10 degrees, whatever you got. I got slightly over 5 degrees, so that's what we'll go with. Now that we've done 5 degrees, we'll go 15 degrees again, okay? So apologies there now, that's my fault. I made a little bit of an error there. 15 degrees. Off it goes, and then 5 degrees again, okay? So just go back and rub it out like I did. If you follow me the first time, I made the same mistake. So there you go. Last but not least, we're going on to this IKEA drawing. So again, this is a good drawing to do for our kind of graphical knowledge. Now what's interesting with this one is usually to give us the entire addition of the length of that line. It doesn't here, but that doesn't really matter too much. So first thing I'm going to do is from the start point, I'm going to draw a nice straight line all the way through the bottom. And again, lads, if this gets if this video goes a little bit too fast, again, rewind it, pause it, do what you need to do. The height is 80, so straight away the first thing I'm going to do is measure up a height of 80. So 5 and 8 is 13. And I'm going to heavy that in because I know that the edge of my eye starts from the start point. So there we go. Now this is where this might get a little challenging, but what I'm going to do, look, it's 40, 16, 40, 20. I'm going to measure out all of those measurements. So we have 40, then 16, and then I'm going to slide it up because it's an awkward number. 40, and then 16. And then you have 20, 40, 16. So 20, 40, and 16. 40, 20, 20, 16. And 16. Lovely. And then where we can get smart now here is, right, we only have to heavy in the lines that are going all the way up. So there's the edge of my eye. I know the next one is the K. Now I can't really heavy in too much else in the K. I can heavy in the E. Going all the way up like that. Lovely. And we can oh sorry, that's the edge of my K. Oopsies. There we go, look, there's me making a mistake again. Honest to God, not my day, lads, not my day at all. Sorry, so we have 16, 40, and 20. That's a big K. So the E actually only starts here. Sorry about that, no, that's my fault. That K seems huge. Definitely says 40, 20, 40, 40, 20. Sorry, 40, 20, 40. Yeah, that's definitely not 40 there, that's 20. What way did I measure this at all? See, even lads, look, honest to God, look, there you go. Oh no, hold on, sorry. 40, 16, yeah. I don't know how I've made such an error there, but like I said, even for me, it's very easy to make mistakes. There's our 40, 20. I don't know how it's this point there's a problem with here, but oh no, there's actually no issue. Sorry, so there's my 40, there's my 20, and then my 16 leave me about there, right? So that's going to be a little bit off, but you get the general idea anyway, okay? And then we have no, so I have made an error here because then this isn't 40. What on earth was I doing at all? Oh no, that is the edge of the K. Mother of God, lads, I am absolutely making a mess of things here. So I am. So the edge of my E should be here. Apologies about that now, lads. Sorry, I'm rushing to try and get out of here. Not doing myself any favours. So there's 40, 20. Yeah, okay, so there's my error. 40 from here. And then that gap should be 16. And it is close enough. 16. Sorry about that, lads. Like I said, lads, so easy to just miss a measurement, which obviously I did somewhere through rushing. And now I'm going back rubbing out because I've made a mess of things, which is always more frustrating than that now. So 40, 20, 20, 16. 40, 20, 20, and 16. Lovely. I was thinking it was going on a little bit long. And then the A is 30, 30, 40. So 30, 30, 40. But lads, that's a great example of, even look, I'm doing this years and still, like, I'll make a stupid mistake like that because I'm not, paying attention properly or whatever it may be. So you can bring all those lines straight up nice and light if you want. I don't really think we need to do that. So we'll heavy in the bottom of our K, heavy in the top of our K, and then yeah, so that line's already coming down nice and light, which is actually ideal. So from the edge of the 20 then up here, so I'll just get my point of the 20. So I measured out 20 down here, mark it off. I can bring that back at 45 degrees because it tells me in the question that angle there is 45 degrees. See over here, if that's 45, then that has to be 45 too. We'll bring that down. Lovely, and we'll measure out 40. This is why probably would be beneficial to bring them all up to the top. And we'll bring this fella down nice and light now because we don't know where exactly the other one is going to end up. So they cross over about there, which is lovely. There we go, there's our K done. So I'm just following the measurements, lads, that's all I'm doing. So the E then, we're given heights over here, 20 and 10 for the E and for the A. So I think what I'll do is I'll measure up 20 and 10 here on the E, just like that, and then I'll bring them all the way across, just like this, all the way across. And what you can do, lads, that I was saying about the measurements across the bottom is it can make it very handy to, if you just bring them up nice and light so that we know where everything is up top as well. It's a good way of doing it. It's kind of going back to our grid method. And again, apologies there, I made a bit of a blunder of that at the start. But it's just a great example as it shows. I was a little bit distracted trying to get this video done quickly. And because of that, then I'm making a mistake, So, and trust me, it's much more annoying having to go back and try and fix your mistake rather than just not make it in the first place. So we have 40 and 20 and 20. So the edge of my E comes to about there. Lovely. And then we can bring it up to here. And all the way in to there, to the initial 40. So again, I'm just following the measurements in my drawing. Look, it tells me to bring it all the way back in to the 40 here. So I did that. Bring it all the way up then to here, I assume. And we can only assume then it comes out to the 20, and we can only assume that it's the same thickness for each of them as it was down here, which is 20. So again, look here, I'm just going to measure up 20. See that? Just measure up 20. Come back, and then you use your T-square now for these lines, for these horizontal lines here. Come back in, and we know that the other gap was 10, so come up 10. Do the same again. Again, make sure you use your T-square for these horizontal lines, okay? I don't want to see anybody doing what I'm doing. It's just my T-square doesn't fit on that well when the visualizer's on. So there we go, that comes all the way back, and there goes my lights again. Lovely stuff. And we can connect that down there like that. 2 seconds. So to finish this off then, we're given an angle of 75 for the 2A's. So out comes our protractor along the bottom. Mark 75 from the bottom corner there. We'll bring it all the way up. Do the same over at the far point over here. Again, make sure it's parallel with the base and with the line going straight up. There's 75. Bring it straight up and we'll connect them at the top. Now my A's are not at the same angle, so one of them is not 75 and I'd be willing to bet it's this one. That one is at 65. Again there, lads, just a stupid mistake for me. Don't know how I did that. It's been a long week. I'm tired. I'm busy after badminton, but it's just a great example again, lads, to be honest, of showing, even on such an easy drawing as this, it's so showing how easy it is to make a mistake. Like, there's no reason for me to be making that mistake there, only that I'm rushing. So we connect up the A then here at the base. We can do the base just like that there, and thanks Louisa, just across here then, just inside into there. We can do sliding set squares then to bring that all the way up, and we'll bring them all the way up until they cross over. So all the way up just to there, and then we won't heavy them in until we find their intersection point. Up it goes just to there. So there's our intersection point, and the two lines that we brought across here, we know that they're the two lines going across for the A. So this is where we have to again just use our graphical brain. We have to connect that one up there like that, and then this A, we don't bring it all the way down, this part of the A I should say, this little triangle here just connects up like that, just like that. So sorry there, now I made a couple of mistakes there, lads. I hope that's not too tricky to follow. Again, the main thing that I want you to be able to do here, the only thing really I want you to be able to do here, is make sure your lines are nice and horizontal, make sure your straight up lines are nice and vertical, and make sure that you focus on the measurements, okay? So we know that it's 80 up, we know we can bring a line straight across and straight across so that we're within our grid, okay? Focus on the measurements. You saw how easily I made a mistake on the measurements there. Something that can just so easily happen. So just focus on those measurements and try not to make any mistakes. And look, if you do make a mistake, go back over it, rub it out. That's how we learn, okay? So good work, lads, and we'll see you next week.